What up, YouTube? It's your man TWC Hollow here in the Hollow's Den, and we back for our NFL Week 7 recap. So let's get to it, man. For our first game to start Week 7 off, we got the Bengals at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. AFC North battle. The Bengals got the victory 33-31. Before we talk about the Bengals, we talk about the Steelers. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got Aaron Rodgers with 23 passes completed out of 34 attempts, 249 yards passing, 4 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jalen Warren has 16 carries, 127 yards rushing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Pat Firemove, he came back to life for Pittsburgh Steelers with 5 receptions, 111 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Flacco, he made Cincinnati Bengals debut with 31 passes completed out of 47 attempts, 342 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns tonight. Chase Brown had 11 carries, 108 yards rushing. Jamar Chase, he went back to his old ways with 16 receptions, 161 yards receiving, 1 receiving touchdown. For Cincinnati Bengals, they defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers AFC Division North battle 33-31. Like I said, Flacco made his debut over 342 yards passing, 3 passing touchdown. Chase Brown had a good night rushing, 108 yards. T. Higgins, he had 96 yards receiving and touchdown. Jamar Chase with 16 receptions, 161 yards receiving, and a touchdown. Bengals defense, they forced 2 interceptions as Flacco had a game-winning drive, 8-play, 52-yard drive down the field for a 36-yard Evan McPherson game-winning field goal as the Cincinnati Bengals, they improved to 3-4 season, and the Steelers fall to 4-2. But, it was a good game. It was a good game to start off the Week 7. But it was one more game that did top that. We'll get to that a little bit. But let's get to our next game. This game was in London. You had the Los Angeles Rams versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Rams won this game 35-7 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence with 23 passes completed out of 48 attempts, 296 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown. Travis Etienne led the team in rushing with 8 carries, 41 yards rushing. But Travis Hunter led the team in receiving with 8 receptions, 101 yards receiving, 1 receiving touchdown for the Jacksonville Jaguars. For the Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford with 23 passes completed, 21 passes completed at 32 attempts, 182 yards passing, 5 passing touchdowns of the day. Kyron Woods with 12 carries, 54 yards rushing, and Kobe Parkinson led the team receiving with 3 receptions, 42 yards receiving. As the Rams, they rout the Jacksonville Jaguars in London 35-7. Stafford threw 4 touchdown passes, 5 touchdown passes. Devontae Adams with 3 receiving touchdown passes. It was a good game overall for the Rams. And Jaguars, they only found the end zone once thanks to Travis Hunter. But the Jaguars, they had to get their offense going and start it early. It's like they always start late, kickstart, catch up football. I don't like that for the Jags. They do have a winning record still at 4-3, but gotta get some things together. But the Rams, they improved to 5-2 of the season. Like I said, Jaguars, they fall to 4-3. Let's get to our next game. Another BTA game. The Kansas City Chiefs, they defeat the Las Vegas Raiders at home 31-0 for the Las Vegas Raiders. You had Geno Smith with 10 passes completed out of 16 attempts, 67 yards passing. Aston Gitchy with 6 carries, 21 yards rushing, and Trey Tucker with 5 receptions, 33 yards receiving for the Las Vegas Raiders. It was just a tough game for the Raiders. But for the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Magic Mahomes with 26 passes completed out of 35 attempts, 286 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns of the day. You also had Isaiah Pacheco with 15 carries, 52 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown a day, and Travis Kelce led the team receiving with 3 receptions, 54 yards receiving for Kansas City Chiefs. As the Chiefs, I said, they rout the Raiders at home 31-0. Patrick Mahomes with another 3 touchdown game, 206 yards. Rashee Rice made his debut today. He had 2 receiving touchdowns of the day for Kansas City Chiefs as they get a AFC West Division win at home against the Raiders. They improved to 4-3 this season. The Raiders, they fall to 2-5. Well, let's get to our next game for the 1 o'clock games from Week 7 Sunday. In our next game, we had the Cleveland Browns at home against the Miami Dolphins. The Browns won this game 31-6, man, for the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa with only 12 passes completed out of 23 attempts, 100 yards passing, 3 interceptions of the day. He got replaced by Quinn Ewers late during the game. Devin Achane with 13 carries, 82 yards rushing of the day. And You also had D. Eskridge led the team receiving with 2 receptions, 44 yards receiving for the Miami Dolphins. Before the Cleveland Browns, Dylan Gabriel with 13 passes completed out of 18 attempts, 116 yards passed of the day. Quinshawn Junkins with team in rushing with 25 carries, 84 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns of the day. And Harold Fender Jr., tight end from Bowling Green, with 4 receptions, 36 yards receiving for Cleveland Browns. The Browns, they defeat the Dolphins at home 31-6. It was a good game. Junkins, 3 rushing touchdowns. The defense, they forced 3 interceptions and 4 sacks. As the Browns, they get the win at home 31-6. They get their second win of the season. They improved 2-5 this season. The Dolphins, man, they're in the blunder. They fall to 1-6 of the season. What is going on in Miami? What is going on, man? But we'll see how that goes down the line later. Let's get to our next game. You got the New England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans. For the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel making his first time back in Tennessee, Nissan Stadium, since he has been released with 2023. Before the New England Patriots, before the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward of 25 passes completed at 34 attempts, 285 yards passing, 1 pass touchdown, 1 interception. Ty.J. Spears with 5 carries, 22 yards rushing, and Shamir Daki with 4 receptions, 20 yards receiving, 70 yards receiving, 1 receiving touchdown for the Tennessee Titans. Before the New England Patriots, Drake May with 21 passes completed out of 23 attempts, 222 yards passing, 2 passing touchdown, only 2 incompletions of the day. Ramondre Stevenson with 18 carries, 88 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown, and Stephon Diggs led the team receiving with 7 receptions, 69 yards receiving. As the New England Patriots, they defeat the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee 31-33. Drake May with 222 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Patriots, they forced 2 interceptions. And Stevenson, he had 88 yards in the receiving game. Good game for Diggs, as I said, 69 yards receiving. As Kavon Chason, he had 2 sacks and a fumble recovery for touchdowns. The Patriots, they improved to 5-2 of the season. And Titans, they fall to 1-6. Well, let's get to our next game. The Carolina Panthers at the New York Jets. The Panthers won this game, man, 13-6. It was a good game for the Panthers before the New York Jets. Tyrod Taylor got the start today with 10 passes completed out of 22 attempts, 126 yards passing, 2 interceptions today. Breece Hall led the team in rushing with 11 carries, 38 yards rushing, and Tyler Johnson led the team receiving with 7 receptions, 60 yards receiving for the New York Jets. Before the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young with 15 passes completed out of 25 attempts, 138 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown. Rico Dodd with 17 carries, 79 yards rushing. Xavier Legette, he led the team receiving with 9 receptions, 92 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown for the Carolina Panthers. They defeat the New York Jets in the Big Apple 13-6. But J.C. Horn was the man of the day with 2 interceptions of the day for the Carolina Panthers. Also had a 1-hander interception. Got back, chased the ball, got it. It was just a hell of a game for Jason Horn and the Carolina Panthers defense. The Panthers, they improved to 4-3 of the season. They forced 2 interceptions, and it's a tough day for the Jets at the office. Legette, he had 92 yards in the receiving touchdown. The Panthers, like I said, they improved to 4-3, but the New York Jets are the only winless team still in the NFL. They are 0-7 of the season. But let's get to our next 1 o'clock game. We got the Chicago Bears at home against the New Orleans Saints. The Bears won this game 26-14 for the New Orleans Saints. Spencer Rattler with 20 passes completed out of 22 attempts, 213 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Alvin Kamara with 11 carries, 28 yards rushing, and Chris Olave led the team receiving with 5 receptions, 98 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns for the New Orleans Saints. Before Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, he didn't have a great day, but he got the job done. 50 passes completed out of 26 attempts, 172 yards passing, 1 interception. DeAndre Swift, it was the DeAndre Swift show with 19 carries, 124 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown a day. And DJ Moore led the team receiving with 3 receptions, 43 yards receiving. As Chicago Bears defeat the New Orleans Saints at home 26-14 as they hang on, get the win. It was the DeAndre Swift show with 124 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown. The Bears defense for 3 interceptions, 4 sacks as they improved to 4-2 of the season, winning 4 straight for Chicago Bears. The Saints, they fall to 1-6 of the season. But let's get to our next game. We got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Minnesota Vikings. The Eagles won this game 28-22 for the Minnesota Vikings. Carson Wentz got the start today for the Minnesota Vikings. 26 passes completed out of 42 attempts, 313 yards passing, 2 interceptions. Jordan Mason led the team in rushing with 15 carries, 51 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown. And Jordan Addison led the team in receiving with 9 receptions, 120 yards receiving for the Minnesota Vikings. Before the Philadelphia Eagles, they got back to that passing game and in winning ways. Jalen Hurts with 19 passes completed out of 23 attempts, 326 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns, had a 158 passer rating of the day. Also had Saquon Barkley with 18 carries, 44 yards rushing, and Devontae Smith with 9 receptions, 182 yards receiving, 1 receiving touchdown for the Philadelphia Eagles as they get the roll in Minnesota. They get the W in Minnesota, 28-22. Hurts, Smith, and the A.J. Brown led the passing game attack today. Hurts with 362 yards passing, 326 yards passing. Smith with 183 yards, and you had A.J. Brown with 5 receptions, 126 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns. Eagles defense, they forced 2 interceptions and 2 sacks. Andrew Kuba, he had an interception, and Jalen Hunt had a pick 6 for a touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings. And at Hurst, he also had 158 passing yard rating as well. The Eagles, they lose a 2-game split. They end the 2-game split. They non-improved to 5-2 this season. The Minnesota Vikings, they fall to 3-3. Let's get to our 4 o'clock game because that was the last game from the 1 o'clock. But let's get to our 4 o'clock game. The first game of the 4 o'clock game, you had the Indianapolis Colts in Los Angeles at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Colts won this game 38-24 for the Chargers. Justin Herbert with 37 passes completed out of 55 attempts, 420 yards passing. Yeah, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You also had Herbert led the team in rushing with 6 carries, 31 yards rushing. And Oronde Gladison with 7 receptions, 161 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown for the Los Angeles Chargers, as it wasn't enough for the Chargers. They fall 38-24. Before the Indianapolis Colts, Indiana Jones, man, with 23 passes completed out of 34 attempts, 288 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns a day. Jonathan Taylor, man, he's been leading the charge, man, for the Colts. He had 16 carries, 99 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdowns for the Indianapolis Colts in the clutch victory, man. Before the Indianapolis Colts receiving, Alec Pierce led the team receiving with 5 receptions, 91 yards receiving for the Colts as they defeat the Chargers in Los Angeles, and 38-24. Taylor with another 3 rushing touchdown game. Jones with 28, 200 passing, 280 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns a game. Herbert with 420 yards passing. He also had the tight end 164 yards receiving. It was a hell of a game, a back and forth shootout. The Chargers tried to make a late comeback, but it just wasn't enough, man. As the Colts defense, the Fort Buckner with 2 sacks of the game, and you also 3 sacks and 2 interceptions as well. The Chargers got their comeback spoiled by the Colts at home. The Chargers, they fall to 4-3 this season, but Indianapolis Colts, they improved to 6-1 of the season, man. Shout out to the Colts, man. They have a hell of a season so far. Starting the season off, Daniel Jones, man, reviving his career. It's been good to see for Indianapolis Colts. But let's get to our next game. Man, this was the game of the week right here. You got the Denver Broncos at home against the New York Giants. The Broncos won this game 33-32 for the New York Giants. Jackson Dart with 15 passes completed out of 33 attempts, 283 yards passing, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. Cam Scatterbull with 16 carries, 60 yards rushing, and Wan'Dale Robinson led team receiving with 6 receptions, 93 yards receiving for the New York Giants. Before the Denver Broncos, Bo Nix put the team on his back. Yes, indeed, with 27 passes completed out of 50 attempts, 279 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins led the team in rushing with 14 carries, 81 yards rushing. And Cortland Sutton led the team receiving with 6 receptions, 87 yards receiving for Denver Broncos, as the Broncos was down 19-0 starting the 4th quarter, and had scored all 33 points in the 4th quarter. The second largest comeback down in the 4th quarter was the other game was the Colts and Buccaneers. That was in 2002. Hell of a comeback, man, by the Broncos. They could just, just wet the bed, just said, bump it, they got it. Won this game 33-32 for the Giants, man. It was just a tough 4th quarter for them. The Jackson Dart had a go-ahead touchdown, but Bo Nix went back and got the ball down the field for another game-winning yard. Will Lutz a field goal for the Broncos, man. It was a hell of a game. Just a lot of resilience for the Broncos as they didn't put up. Bonus with 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns all in the fourth quarter for the Broncos. They improved to 5-2 this season. The New York Giants, they fall to 2-5. Tough loss. But let's get to our next game. The Green Bay Packers at the Arizona Cardinals. The Packers won this game 27-23. It wasn't all peaches and cream, but for the Arizona Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett with 25 passes completed out of 36 attempts, 279 yards passing, 2 pass touchdowns today. Bam Knight with 14 carries, 52 yards rush of the day, and Trey McBride led the team receiving with 10 receptions, 74 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns for the Arizona Cardinals. Before I talk about the Green Bay Packers, let me just talk about the Green Bay Packers. I'll just wait. For the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love with 19 passes completed out of 29 attempts, 179 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown. We also had Josh Jacobs with 52 carries, 52 yards rushing off 15 carries a day. 2 rushing touchdowns, though, and Romeo Dow led the team receiving with 6 receptions, 72 yards receiving. The Packers defeat the Cardinals in Arizona 27-23. Micah Parsons, though, had a 3-sack performance game, though. This was a clutch game for him, and it was a great game for him as he had a first 3-sack game in his game. Josh Jacobs with 2 rushing touchdowns. The Packers that stopped the Cardinals late in the fourth quarter to win this game 27-23. As the Packers, they improved to 4-1-1 on the season. The Cardinals, they fall to 2-5. Where's Kyle Murray? But like I said, Cardinals, they fall 2-5. The Packers, they improved to 4-1-1 of the season. But let's get to our next game. NFC East division battle in Dallas and Jerry World. The Dallas Cowboys at home against the Washington Commanders. Cowboys won this game 44-22 for the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels with 12 passes completed out of 22 attempts, 156 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown. Also led the team in rushing with 8 carries, 35 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown for the Washington Commanders. And my guy, Jalen Moore with 3 receptions, 6 yards receiving for the Washington Commanders as they take a tough loss in Dallas. Before the Dallas Cowboys, you had Dak Prescott with 21 passes completed out of 30 attempts, 264 yards passing of the day, 3 passing touchdowns. Javonte Williams with 19 carries, 116 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown. CeeDee Lamb made his return today with 5 receptions, 110 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown. Cowboys defeat the Commanders at home 44-22 in the NFC East division battle. Prescott with 3 touchdowns. Javonte Williams 116 yards rushing. Lamb he had a 110 yards receiving game. The Cowboys they get the win of the season 3-1 of the season. Jaden Daniels led this game with a right hamstring injury. A tough blow for the Commanders as they've been down with the wide receiver injury. Now McDaniels he's out with the injury as they go face the Kansas City Chiefs next. The Cowboys they face the Denver Broncos. But the Commanders they fall to 3-4 season. But let's get to our Sunday night football game for week 7. That was the San Francisco 49ers at home against the Atlanta Falcons. The 49ers won this game 20-10 for the Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix Jr. with 21 passes completed out of 30 attempts, 241 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown. B.J. Robinson led the team in rushing with 14 carries, 4 yards rushing. Also had a receiving touchdown in the game. Darnell Mooney led the team in receiving with 3 receptions, 68 yards receiving for the Atlanta Falcons as they lost this game 20-10 before San Francisco 49ers. Mac Jones with 17 passes completed, 26 attempts, 152 yards passing, and an interception of the day. But it was the Christian McCaffrey show, man. CMC, man, returned back to form with 24 carries, 124 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns a day. Also led the team receiving with 7 receptions, 72 yards receiving. As the Niners defeat the Falcons 20-10 at home. CMC Christian McCaffrey put on the show with 200 total yards of the game, 2 rushing touchdowns. As the Niners, they get the win at home. They are now in a 3-way tie in first place at 5-2 with the with the Rams and Seahawks. Like I said, Niners are 5-2, Seahawks 5-2, and the Rams are 5-2. The Falcons, they fall to 3-3 of the season. Let's get to our last two games. We had a Monday night doubleheader again, but for our first game, you got the Detroit Lions at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Lions won this game 24-9. For Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield with 28 passes completed out of 50 attempts, 228 yards passing, one pass touchdown, one interception. Rashad Wright led the team in rushing with 10 carries, 38 yards rushing. K. Otten led the team receiving with 7 receptions, 68 yards receiving for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Before the Detroit Lions, Jared Efficient Goff with 20 passes completed out of 29 attempts, 241 yards passing, one pass touchdown, one interception. Jahmyr Gibbs led the team in rushing with 17 carries, 136 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns a day. Also had 5 receptions, 80 yards receiving. That's a 200 total yard game for Jahmyr Gibbs. But Amon St. Brown led the team receiving with 6 receptions, 86 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown for Detroit Lions. They get the win at home against the Bucs 24-9. They improved to 5-2 this season. Jahmyr Gibbs with 200 yards total game and 2 rush touchdowns. That was a hell of a touchdown run he had. An 80-yard touchdown up the gut, straight to the house. Goff with 2 touchdowns. St. Brown with 86 yards and touchdown. Like I let Lions, they bounce back, get back to winning ways. They improved to 5-2 this season. The Bucs, they suffered their second loss of the season. They lost Mike Brown during this game with a broken collarbone, man. Prayers to Mike Evans. Mike Evans, lost his game to a broken collarbone. But prayers to Mike Evans, man. His season is done, man. And just a hell of a player and a veteran for the Bucs. It's over for them as the Bucs, they fall to 5-2 this season. The Lions, they improved to 5-2. Let's get to our last game of the day for week 7. The Seattle Seahawks versus the Houston Texans in Seattle. Seattle gets the W 27-19 for the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud with 23 passes completed out of 49 attempts, 229 yards passing, 1 pass touchdown, 1 interception. He also led the team in rushing with 2 carries, 29 yards rushing. But Dalton Schultz led the team in receiving with 9 receptions, 98 yards receiving for the Houston Texans. Before the Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold with 17 passes completed out of 31 attempts, 213 yards passing, 1 pass touchdown, 1 interception. Kenneth Walker with 17 carries, 66 yards rushing of the day. And Jackson Smith, the Jigba JSN show with 8 receptions, 123 yards receiving, and receiving touchdowns. The Seahawks, they defeat the Texans at home with 27-19. JSN with another 100-yard receiving game, 120 yards receiving, and a receiving touchdown. The Seattle Seahawks rushing defense is no joke. They only have led the Houston to 29 yards rushing of the day as they get the W at home, 27-19. Like I said in this game, they are in a 3-way tie in the NFC West. The Seahawks, the Rams, and Niners are all 5-2 of the season, and for the Houston Texans, they fall to 2-4 the season. It was a tough game, but the Seahawks, man, the NFC West is very interesting, and we'll see how these games go down the line. But before we get out of here, I want to talk about my player of the week, man. There was some good performances this week. Really was some good performances this week. Bo Nix, man, really could have been the man of the day. Man, it was a good performance, man. Good performance. But I'm going to go with Indianapolis Colts, man. Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries, 99 yards rushing, 3 rushing touchdown, another 3 rushing touchdown game. And the Colts are at an NFL best 6-1 of the season in the NFL. And nobody's talking about the Colts because of who they have as their quarterback and how they look at him from his past in New York. And that is wrong. Give the Indianapolis Colts some credit, man. They're 6-1. They're doing what they got to do. They're winning football games. They're going on the road in Los Angeles. Played Los Angeles Chargers, won that game. They, the Indianapolis Colts are running the AFC South, and they're top dogs in the AFC, in the AFC right now. So shout out to the Colts, man. And like I said, Jonathan Taylor is my player of the week. But this was NFL Week 7. It was a good Week 7 overall. We'll see how it goes for Week 8. As for Week 8, start of Week 8, you had the Vikings against the Los Angeles Chargers. That will be on real soon. But we better tune in, like, subscribe. It's man TWC Hollow here in the Hollow's Den. We still no slums, getting it done, man. Chill in the Hollow's Den, and we are out.